Good afternoon, everybody. I'm calling the Village of Mount Sterling Village Council together this afternoon for a work session, February 9th, 2026. The subject of the work session today is amending the rules of council. And I would remind everyone that we have spent an hour and a half on this subject already. We are time boxed this afternoon, and let's all get together and try to get through the remainder of the edits in a timely fashion and get on to other business. So I believe, unless there is any motions from the floor that we need to entertain, we'll pick back up with the editing.
I would like to address the chair, please.
Yes?
First thing I would like to say is, the one thing I have noticed is that, and they might not be aware of it, but normally when we have things that we want to address, we address the chair, not each other. Same thing with debates. We don't debate with one another. We talk to the chair, is my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's Robert's Rules of Order, usually.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I wanted to bring that up. That might save a lot of grief later, because I know all of us are always willing to put in our thoughts. We just need to make sure we're doing it the proper way. Secondly, in regards to the last meeting, I would like to make a motion that we revert back to the President Pro Tem Responsibilities Rule 2, items 1 through 6, in its original form.
Is there a second
Is
on that
that
motion?
conflict of interest? I'm just asking, is that conflict of interest?
In what sense?
A president pro tem to bring back a president pro tem item?
No, I mean, there's no, when it comes to conflicts, and you're jumping ahead to my presentation, generally what it prohibits is any fiscal benefit to you or a family member. So just doing something that would change the duties of your title or responsibility would not be a conflict of interest.
Thank you.
Chair?
Yes?
Okay, so as you stated, we took an hour and 45 minutes last time, getting as far as we did. I would recommend, instead of starting all over, we continue where we left off, finish that, and then if we have to go back, we will.
The motion is specifically not to start over, but to revert the language. So I don't think that that's starting over.
That is starting over because it's Rule 2, and then
We have a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. So
seconded?
is there any other discussion?
I still have something to say.
What?
So I had the floor, and I was making a statement, and she just chimed in and talked to me.
No, I
So
was
she's
looking at
just
Andy.
doing what- She's just doing what she told us not to do. So I'm allowed to have a conversation about this.
You certainly are.
I don't feel like that we should revert back to Rule 2 when we are on Rule 7. I feel like, let's move on, get the rest done, and then we can go back. That's only fair, or we have to revisit all of them in fairness.
We technically don't.
Well, we could.
This motion is just for this one, just for the public's
Right,
benefit.
But I could say, the very next motion, I could say, well, now I want to revisit the committees, and I want to have all new discussion all over again about them. But in, respect for time, let's get through them the first time, and then go back. That's my opinion.
Okay, good deal.
So we have Joyce as the motion.
Yep, and there's been a second.
Who is the second?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have-
I'd like to have a little discussion. As far as Rule 1 through 6, as I originally stated, and then we originally passed it, they don't really all make sense for her job title. They're already stated elsewhere as rules, not specifically for the president pro tem,
Such as?
246. And then I'm also wondering,
So is that Rule 2, number 6?
No, it's
Rule
within,
2,
within,
number
yes,
4 and 6.
correct.
so I'm not sure 1 through 6 actually makes sense to reinstate. And then I'm wondering, as far as 1, do we do need somebody to assign our seats? Is that, we want that? I just want it to make sense. So if 1 through 6 makes sense, I don't think it does.
So I have one more thing to say,
Mhm.
Mr. Mayor. When we were going through these before, it took an extensive amount of time. The vote was in the favor of removing them. And it was stated several times by our President Pro Tem, well, this isn't, it doesn't happen until we go to council and vote for it. So this, we still have to vote at council. It was said at least 3 times. So, again, it was made obvious at that point that by the time we get to council meeting, it would change. And so now, we're not even that far yet, and we're going back again to that.
Mayor, may I?
Yes.
I did not come up with the thought to change this. I was asked by another council member. So that is why I'm doing it.
I'd also like to add, this probably, I mean, this would have never come up for me to remove these roles, these assignments, this power, if you will, if the leadership role, President Pro Tem, was handled like a leader should handle it. A leader should reach out to everyone, not just the people that voted for her, and ask them what committees they want to be a part of. It should be fair and equal. I gave the opportunity for that. This would have probably never been a discussion if we actually were going to work together as it was stated to me. So this wouldn't have been an issue if this leadership role was being handled as a leader.
Mayor, I want to agree with that. She's absolutely correct. We sent out the original committee listing. There was only one council member that had an issue with it. Okay, I went back and I made some changes. I assumed she was fine because I didn't hear from her. Then another council member brought it to my attention. She didn't get anything she asked for, so I gave her a solution that would make it more even. I said, work this out. Did I not, Melanie?
You said there was only one thing you were willing to make a change with.
Yeah, which was the only option I had up to that point. So I gave you that option, which was Heather giving you streets and her taking, I believe it was records. I have it here somewhere. And I never heard anything back. So where did I fail, other than I didn't pick up the phone and call you? I did give you an option. I'm sorry if you don't like my verbiage, okay? I was trying to get this done. I had just buried my niece, and I'm trying to get this done. So come back to the table and talk to me.
That's what we're doing right now.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there.
We would really rather prefer, everyone should have an input in their committees. We all know where we feel we will serve best. There's a lot of new people that haven't worked together up here. And I just feel like I know where my passions are. I know where I feel like I can make a difference. And I feel like my requests are disregarded. And, you might be on the good side of the President Pro Tem this year, but this isn't changing the rules of council for this year. This is changing them to come forward on. Next year, we could have a new President Pro Tem. They might hold a grudge against some other person on council for whatever reason. And if you were the person sitting up here not getting any assignments that you have that passion for, you might feel a little differently about giving one person all the power to choose what you are allowed to serve on up here. You might be the big dog this year, but next year you might not. And you might want to think about changing it this year because you are up here to serve a 4-year term. You need to look beyond this year. What's going to be better in the future with these rules of council?
I do not disagree, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that at all, Melanie, I don't. I'm just saying, so that we can get this year taken care of and get our committees going, let's have an adult conversation on what committees right now, as it stands, would you prefer to be on? Get it done, and let's move forward.
I like the idea of having a round robin type of It could take 5 minutes. We could all sit right here. We each take one turn picking one committee that we want until all committee seats are filled, or we've had enough that we want. If somebody wants to keep going, they can. Maybe they want 5 committees, but I feel like it should be more equal, more fair. We don't need somebody to tell us what we feel like we'll be best at.
Okay, well, Mr. Mayor, I'm done debating it. I think I've said my piece. I think taking it back to its original form makes sense to me. It makes sense to the council members that reached out to me. It's made some sense when I do my research and I talk to other municipalities. I know of no municipality in Ohio, unless Mr. Smith can correct me, that self-assign. They go to committees of the whole, or they have the pro tem do it. Could the pro tem take a different approach on it? Of course they could, and perhaps they should. Okay, I'm not opposed to that at all. But to sit here and take up this kind of time when we, as Becky has mentioned, we need to get busy on committees, it's not going to happen before March, the way I see it now, and that concerns me.
Yes, go ahead.
One last thing. Melanie touched on it. Joyce has even entertained the fact that, yeah, maybe we could look at something like that. But I'm going to give this to you, Joyce, and all it is simply a paper, and it lists each of our committees. Because the other day, when we said we were going to eliminate those and self-appoint, even Andy said, okay, but I'm not really sure how that's going to work. So how that's going to work, like Melanie just said, is if you would be willing, and even if this goes back to its original form, to just sit down with all of us, and then one at a time, we fill in the slots, and like Melanie said, you can pass if you have enough committees and you don't want any more, but I'm gonna give this to you, Joyce, and you can look it over, and I think you would really think it's a great idea, because then you're not gonna get blamed by anybody, there's not gonna be hard feelings, and maybe we can be, you know, a little more in step with each other. So that's just kind of what we're talking. And again, you can let people start by seniority, or President Pro Tem can go first, and then David, and me, and then, and again, by seniority. And then everyone, and you just keep going. And you just keep taking turns, and you fill in those slots, and everyone has a chance, several chances to get on something that they think they would, you know, help with. So
I thank you. I appreciate that, and I will look it over. But another good option would be going to committees of the whole. Instead of having committee, all these committees, we have the 3 main committees that basically our town needs to function: finance, water, streets, and the rest of them just do committees of the whole.
well, those aren't, I mean, that's again, now you're taking even more power.
No, I'm not taking it,
You're deciding
I
what
don't have
committees
power.
are the 3 most important
Okay.
committees, and that's not true.
I have
That's not true.
organization.
Okay.
That's all I have.
We have a motion pending, so we need to do a roll call vote.
Okay, so this is to, a
Revert the
motion to revert back, this is on rule number 2,
two.
1 through 6.
Yep. so-
Joyce has made the motion, Nathan has seconded, we'll do a roll call. David?
Yes.
Nathan?
Yes.
Becky?
No.
Melanie?
No.
Heather?
No.
Joyce?
Yes.
That's a 3 to 3.
Yes. Okay. I believe we left off with Rule 7.
So I just have a question then. I know, I mean, we're still stuck on this, but number 2, the dates and times of all regular scheduled meetings of village council. This is restated later, and it's already said that that's
The chair
the
does that.
2nd and 4th Monday.
This would be council meetings that are not otherwise normally assigned.
Right.
So like this
Committee
one,
meetings.
for example.
Okay.
Okay, what page are
We are on Rule 7. Consists of meetings for the public's benefit. Regular meetings shall be held at Town Hall, 1 South London Street, Mount Sterling, Ohio, at 7 p.m. and by 9 p.m., no later than 9 p.m., on the 2nd and 4th Monday of each month. A change in meeting time or place is subject to village council action by motion. When any, I'm sorry?
thought we were past that.
No, we were at Rule
I
7.
think we jumped around.
Well, we were on 7, and then we figured out up a little
Nothing else.
further.
Okay.
Was about recording the meetings, but yeah, we're on 7.
Special meetings may be called by the clerk of council. See, village council has the right to adjourn or continue at the first regular organizational meeting at such times the mayor deems expedient. Mayor shall report to village council. Smoking, eating, or concealed weapons are prohibited during council meetings in council chambers. Any further comments, edits on Rule 7, please? Okay, hearing none. Rule 8, attendance. Attendance at regular council meetings shall include the mayor, council members, clerk of council, village administrator, village solicitor, sheriff's representatives, and such other staff and department heads as may be requested. Meetings of the village council shall be open to the general public as provided for in Ohio's Public Meetings Act, as the same may be amended from time to time.
There it does say, attendance by the village administrator.
Mhm.
I guess that should be if applicable. I mean, at this moment, we don't have one.
Right?
And then it also says that the village solicitor should be there, and then maybe that should say if needed as well.
Mm-hmm. So are you making a motion to do that?
Sure.
Okay, is there a second on that one?
Second that.
Thank you,
And this
Joyce.
is as needed, right?
As needed, right.
If I could,
Okay, so that was Becky and Joyce. Okay, roll call, David?
Yes.
Nathan?
Yes.
Becky? Yes. Melanie?
Yes.
Heather?
yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Okay. Rule 9, record of proceedings, meeting agenda. Clerk of council shall keep a record of all proceedings of the village, including the names of members present there at or excused therefrom, and of all rules, resolutions, motions, and ordinances passed or adopted by it, which shall be subject to the inspection of all interested persons. In the case of the absence of the clerk of council, the village council shall appoint one of its members to serve as the acting clerk for that meeting. Regular meetings shall be video, audio recorded. Let's see. If a committee chairperson requests meeting be video or audio recorded, then the clerk of council shall prepare such. Clerk of council shall prepare an agenda.
We already
changed that
striked
little
that.
Pot. We changed that little part there, remember, to all meetings, and we marked out regular, and then we marked out the second sentence, all of it.
And that motion passed, yes.
That motion passed, all right. No later than Friday before each regular meeting, clerk of council shall be notified by village officials, committee chairman, of matters to be presented, including ordinances, resolutions, in the order that they may be listed on the meeting agenda. Any member of the general public desiring to be on the agenda must notify the clerk of council no later than 12 p.m. noon on the Thursday prior.
Okay, stop right there, if you would. I was just questioning that. I know it's been in here forever, but now we have a policy where they can just walk in and sign the book. and
That's, so
still
there's,
speak.
I see this as a difference. So if someone wants to be as official business, that should require notification of the clerk in advance. So if someone's to, I don't know, make a formal presentation or an appearance for some kind, they should schedule it in advance. Whereas a member of the public, if they wish to comment on council or me or anybody else, should just sign the book and check in and have their 3 minutes. That's what that's really for.
Mayor, I always think that gives a chance for a citizen to say they got a late to come in and they got a problem, which I see nothing wrong with. They get their 3 to 5 minutes, because
Absolutely.
we've had them come in like that. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, any presentation or discussion should be limited to 3 minutes unless extended. For addressing council, any member of the general public shall complete the speaker's form, which is this. Say what business affiliation, the issue which they want to talk about, whether the speaker is supporting or opposing. No more than 3 speakers shall address each side of a question. Village council may by majority vote extend the number of speakers on the topic. Any other edits to Rule 9? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to Rule 10, Order of Business. The business of regular council meeting shall be transacted in the following order. I believe this should be pretty familiar to all of you. Roll call to determine if, call to order, roll call to determine if quorum is present, prayer, pledge of allegiance, minutes, reading, amendment, and approval thereof, mayor's comments, president pro tempore's comments, public comment, executive session, reports of village officials and committees, ordinances and resolutions, roundtable, public questions and comments, and adjournment. Any questions regarding the payment of bills may be addressed to the Finance Committee's chairperson prior to and after council meetings. Each council person is required to review his or her packet prior to council meeting. If a council person has a question, he or she shall call the mayor, village administrator, or the clerk fiscal officer for a full explanation prior to the scheduled meeting. Thoughts, comments, concerns on that one? That should be pretty vanilla.
I just have one little thought. Is there a way to then share with the group? I mean, I might not know what Melanie's questions, thoughts, or concerns that she addressed before the meeting, but I might really be concerned. So is there any way for us to then know, what each other, because we've had emails go on that say ask directly, and then I've gotten myself into where I think I've asked too much or said too much. So I'm just trying to figure out that.
That's a good question for
You-
Stephen.
Yeah, you're,
So when so when I send, and I'll use an example, when I send an email out for council, okay, and then I'll say, okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. And with the hearing, Christie wanted me to send a separate email out with just those attachments so that it wouldn't be all in just one email.
Okay.
If she has a question and say she sends it to me and says, hey, can I have a copy of a map?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to share that with everybody in the email? Or does
Absolutely.
it have to just go back directly? to
No,
her?
it can go with everyone. Where you run into problems, and, well, you guys are just running right into my next training. When it comes to public records, you always have a right to get information, period. So if Courtney is sharing, if someone asks a question, she can send out the answer to everyone. What we can't do is we can't cross the line where you all individually start getting into a discussion regarding the issue via email, because that could cross the open meetings line. But in terms of getting you information to help you do your job,
Yeah.
there's no problem sharing that with everybody.
Yeah, just because I am new, and I would like to know what people are asking and what those answers are.
But
Sure.
please do, if there's
Yeah.
something that you don't want to have shared, please just tell me in the email, say, please do, email me directly.
Okay.
Because I don't want to share something that maybe you just had a question about, like, oh, I see a typo or something.
yeah,
like
I
that,
think
or-
by default, we basically treat everything as open.
Yeah.
Well, and if I may, even if you say, please don't share, that doesn't mean anything, because it's a public record, and if someone asks for it, we have to turn it over.
Right,
You can't do secret stuff. If you want to do that, pick up the phone and call somebody.
right.
So,
So maybe,
I mean, you can ask to say, hey, I just send this to me, but if someone asks, we have to give it to everyone,
yeah.
so.
So as a group, we could just make it practice that we reply all, so that we can all see what's being asked. I mean, it's not like anyone's
The
trying
only-
to be
like I
secretive.
said,
But we can't start talking to
Yeah,
each
No,
other.
no.
I
Right,
would
right.
only caution you, the reply to all button does scare me a little bit, because once you start engaging back and forth with each other, someone's gonna get a copy of that and be like, wow, did they just make a decision? So you just gotta be careful with that.
Right.
If you're just sharing information, no problem.
Or if you just
you.
reply back to that specific person, because say you have a direct question for the mayor, you have a direct question for me, then say, hey, do you mind sharing this with everybody, like a report or a map or something like that.
Just like chewing gum in class. I hope you have enough to share with everyone.
All right, okay. Moving on, Rule 11, hearings before council. Village council customarily accommodates visitors by providing a time of 3 minutes where electors, taxpayers, or other persons desire a public hearing, which at a point in time may exceed the time usually available. Village council may schedule such public hearings for arranging for a special time and place therefore. I would assume there's no changes to that one. If not, we'll go on to Rule 12. Rule 12, opening procedure and quorum. Presiding officer of the village shall take chair at the time appointed for the village council to meet and shall immediately call the members to order. The presiding officer shall then determine if a quorum is present and continue on with description and order of business. A majority of all members elected shall constitute a quorum, but a lesser number may adjourn from day to day and compel the attendance of absent members in such a manner and under such penalties as prescribed by law. Please see Ohio Revised Code 731.44. Rule 13, order and decorum. Presiding officer of the village shall preserve order and decorum and confine members in debate to the question. Any member of council can proffer an objection to a decision of the presiding officer. By majority vote, council shall decide the validity of the objection of the member of council. Council can then decide what course of action should be taken by majority vote. Presiding officer shall avoid the appearance of partisanship in any question. The presiding officer's function is to solely see that business properly brought before village council is conducted in an orderly way, and that the members of the village council observe these rules. Rule 14, delinquency. Village council may punish or expel any member for disorderly conduct or violation of these rules and will declare that member's seat vacant for absence without valid excuse where such absence has continued for 2 months. No expulsion shall take place without concurrence of 2/3 of all the council members elected, and until the delinquent member has been notified of the charge against him or her and has had an opportunity to be heard. This is pursuant to Revised Code Section 73145. Rule 15, voting. Voting shall be conducted in the following forms: viva voce and roll call. Every member present shall vote yes by yes, no, or abstention. A member may only abstain from voting if that member has a conflict of interest which would render it inappropriate or unlawful for that member to vote on the question. Any member abstaining from voting shall briefly state the nature of the conflict of interest. Okay, Rule 16, references to committee. If any new business brought before council requires investigation or study, presiding officer shall refer it to the proper committee or village official promptly. If that's not needed, and matter can be disposed of quickly, then such action should be taken at once. Prolonged argument, discussion, debate by village council is to be avoided. I'm paraphrasing a lot of this in order to keep going, so if there's a specific section someone would like to edit, please let me know. Rule 17, Committee of the Whole. This is a meeting of the entire village council as a committee, but instead of the usual presiding officer being in charge, a chairperson chosen by the village council will preside. The designated chairperson shall inform public in advance in the time of place of the meeting.
Okay, I just want a little bit of clarification here. My understanding, committees of the whole are things such as budget meetings, when we're all there.
Well, this would be one right now.
Work session.
This is one, but according to this, like, we would elect our own presiding officer.
I-
But,
I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually was interested in that myself, and the reason why is, hold on, I'm responding to that. Section 733.24 says that the mayor shall be the president of the legislative authority and shall preside at all regular and special meetings thereof, but shall of course have no vote in case of a tie.
okay, I'm gonna read something back to you now. Rule 13, the presiding officer shall avoid the appearance of partisanship on any question. Presiding officer's function is solely to see that business is properly brought before village councils and conducted in an orderly manner. That member village, and that the village council observes these rules. So, I know we had some issues the other night where you would chime in and tell me your opinion on lots of things. So I'm asking, if you're the presiding officer, you just keep that in mind, that you're supposed to be neutral. But as far as a committee of the whole, that would apply to rules of council, budget meetings, and special circumstances, such as like if we all said, hey, let's get together and talk about hiring a new sheriff's department, right? So if we all get together outside of a council meeting, that is considered a committee of the whole. So I just want to make that clear, because sometimes we've gotten a little confused because, and we go on in this, committee shall be governed by these rules in its deliberation. There shall be no time limits placed on frequency of speaking, and that previous question cannot be moved. So a few times, we've tried to apply the wrong rules in budget meetings and say, Becky's not allowed to talk longer than 3 minutes, and Becky's been put on the clock. So this is where the meeting of the whole, we can talk as long as we want, as long as we're respectful until the question is finalized. And everyone has their right to talk as many times as they want. It has nothing to do with 3 minutes like council meetings. So I just want that to be known, that we don't put each other on the clock at these kind of meetings.
I have a
Duly noted.
response to that. I do agree with you. But maybe we should have somewhat of an exception at the meetings of the committee meetings of the whole, and they're a great idea. And not a huge exception, but I know somewhere it says you can't debate back and forth.
That's in council meetings.
Right, and maybe we should have that in something like a
I
committee
agree with
meeting
Becky,
to
too. I think
limit.
you should have enough time on the floor, Becky, if you need.
Should.
I believe in that.
You should, but to keep it going for 30 minutes
It'll-
doesn't make any sense
We
to
don't
me.
keep things usually going for 30 minutes. Sometimes we go back and start them over. But I think we've done really good in the past, other than a few times when we've tried to change the rules. So I'm just asking that everybody keep this in mind, that that's what this is about. When the 6 of us are together outside of the council meeting, it's about discussion and everybody being heard. And I just want that to be known.
Okay, good deal. Any other edits on Rule 17? All right, Rule 18, introduction of and voting on legislation, seconding of motions, resolutions. Presiding officer and members of the village council shall introduce ordinances and resolutions. Ordinances and resolutions shall always be voted on separately. The voting on such legislation shall be entered by the clerk of council in writing and journaled together with the names of the members voting yes, no, and those abstaining. Edits on 18. Okay, hearing none. 19, first reading of ordinances and resolutions. When committee reports on ordinances and resolutions are submitted to the village council, they may be given a first reading, a regular scheduled village council meeting, or a special meeting called for such purpose. The village council may or may not, as it so desires, suspend the rules, dispense with the first, second, third reading of ordinance measures, continue with the third reading, and thereupon vote upon the passage of the ordinance and adoption of resolutions and other measures itself, only at regular, only at a regular meeting of village council. Suspension of the rules requires 3/4 of council members, and that's pursuant to Revised Code Section 731.17. Okay, hearing none. Rule 20, majority defined. Whenever the term majority is used herein, unless otherwise expressly indicated, it shall be held to mean a majority of those elected to the village council. Likewise, whenever a 2/3 or 3/4 vote is indicated, it shall mean 2/3 or 3/4 respectively of the members elected to the village council. Thus, in a village council of 6 sitting members, a majority and 2/3 shall be 4, and 3/4 shall be 5. No ordinances or other resolutions shall be passed by council without the concurrence of a majority of the members. In the case of a tie, the mayor may cast the deciding vote. I have to, yeah.
Will.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Rule 21, ordinances and resolutions ordinarily shall be read 3 times before passage. Emergency ordinances and motions. When an ordinance, when an ordinance is presented, it shall be read by the title, only by the clerk of council, and if it is not an emergency ordinance, should be set aside for a second and third reading at subsequent meetings. And that is to say, ordinances shall be normally read on 3 different days. The village council may require any reading to be in full by a majority vote of its members. If it's an emergency ordinance requiring immediate action, the presiding officer should, after the clerk of council reads it, entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read the ordinance by its title for its second and third readings. If 3/4 of the members approve, the presiding officer will then read the ordinance, and the ordinance will then be ready for passage. After a member moves for passage in a second, a vote shall be taken. If 2/3 majority approves the passage, the ordinance shall be passed and signed by clerk of council, then mayor or presiding officer and the village solicitor present. We have definitions of emergency and to suspend the rules, and then action by the village council not required by law may be taken by motion approved at least a majority of the council members present at the meeting when the action is taken. Okay, Rule 22, amending a resolution or ordinance. An ordinance or resolution may be amended at any time prior to its passage by the village council. Each ordinance or resolution must be limited to one subject matter. That's pursuant to Revised Code Section 731.19. Okay, Rule 23, limitations on debate. Members seeking to speak on a question or motion shall first address the presiding officer, who shall state the name of the member entitled to the floor. No member of the village council, while the village council is in session, shall engage in debate or discussion with anyone save another member of the village council or the mayor or some person who has either been granted privilege to address the village council or is present at the village council meeting on invitation. All such debate and discussion shall be governed by Robert's Rules and Order and be limited to 3 minutes. No member shall speak more than once on any subject until, bless you, until every member, you okay over there?
Good thing I don't have to eat.
Choosing to speak shall have had an opportunity to be heard, nor more than twice on the same subject. Okay, Rule 24, adjourn meetings. When the business of the village council is not completed within the available time at a given meeting, the meeting by motion may be adjourned to a definite date and time, just as this one was. When the village council reconvenes at an appointed time, if quorum is present, it takes up the business where it left off at its former meeting. An adjourned meeting is merely a continuation of the meeting from which it was adjourned and not for the introduction of new business. Okay, Rule 25, motions when debatable and withdrawal. When a motion is moved and seconded, a presiding officer shall state it before any debates shall be in order. Movers thereto may withdraw any such motion amendment thereof at any time before final decision. that's basic stuff here. Rule 26, division of the question. Any member may call for division of the question, or the presiding officer may direct same. In either case, the same shall be divided if it comprehends questions so distinct that one is being taken away, the other shall stand as an entire question for decision. This happens rarely, but can happen, I suppose. Okay, Rule 27, to refer precedents. When there's a question of referring given subject to a standing committee to a special committee, the question of reference to a standing committee shall be first. Okay, Rule 28, adjournment and unqualified and qualified. The motion for unqualified adjournment shall always be in order even when the main motion is being considered. The motion requires a second and a majority vote. The motion for qualified adjournment is acceptable when no motion or other business is being considered. This motion requires a second and is amendable from time to time in its place and majority vote. 29, acceptable motions, order of precedence. When a motion or question is before village council or under debate, no motion shall be received except for the following: to adjourn, unqualified; to lay the pending matter of business on the table for the previous question; to postpone the question; to refer the question; to amend the motion on the floor; to postpone the question indefinitely; and to recess. The several motions shall have precedence in the order in which they are here above arranged. Okay, Rule 30, incidental motions, Robert's Rules of Order. You see before you a chart of the standard Robert's Rules of Order. A motion to accept reports is optional. If to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings, then 3/4 is required. Otherwise, only a majority vote is required. C. Majority when notice to rescind was given. This is the legend to the chart up there. You can read it. I don't need to summarize it. In the absence of any rule upon the matter of business, the current edition of Robert's Rules of Order shall govern council. Okay, Rule 31, excusal from attendance. Failure of a member to be so excused shall result in a pro rata based on the number of meetings missed during the month in question in relation to the total number of meetings in that month. Forfeiture of the member's monthly salary. However, no member shall be excused from attendance at more than 3 consecutive village council meetings except upon roll call and by vote of the majority of the council members present. No member shall be excused while village council is in session except upon the majority vote of the members present. Rule 32, disciplinary action. The village council may punish or expel any member for disorderly conduct or for violation of these rules and for an absence which continues for 2 months or longer without a valid excuse. A vote of 2/3 of the village council members is needed to expel, which vote may be taken only after notice of charge and an opportunity to be heard has been provided. Okay, Rule 33, Ohio Sunshine Laws. The village council shall comply with all applicable provisions of Ohio's Open Meetings Act, Public Records Act, and all similar acts commonly known as Ohio's Sunshine Laws. Rule 34, no member of the village council who participates in a properly convened executive session or is informed of the matters discussed in any such executive session shall divulge in any form to anyone the matters discussed therein without proper authorization. Participants who violate this rule may be subject to public censure by village council in addition to any other penalties provided by law. Rule 35, law director. The village law director shall, if present and requested by a member of the village council, give a verbal opinion on any question of law concerning village affairs in open session. But the village law director may, if the matter is deemed of importance, take reasonable time to submit his opinion in writing. The village law director shall not be required to draw any ordinance or resolution except upon a majority vote of the village council members, presiding officer, village administrator, and/or fiscal officer. Rule 36, discussion of privileged information. No member of the village administration or a member of village council shall discuss and/or disseminate information deemed to be of a sensitive nature obtained because of attending an executive session of a village council meeting. If a member of the village administration or a member of the village council discusses or disseminates sensitive information obtained as a result of their attendance in an executive session of a village council, then that person will be subject to punishment by the council of the village. The punishment shall be consistent with that allowed by the Ohio Revised Code and the rules of procedure therein. Rule 37, these rules from time to time and at any time be amended, repealed, or new rules adopted by a majority vote of the members elected or upon a report of committee which the subject has been referred to at a previous meeting. Rule 38, interpretation of these rules. The interpretation given by village council in implementing these rules shall be deemed final and controlling. Rule 39, effective date. These rules shall continue in force and effect until amended or replaced by the village council. At the first regular meeting, January of each year, the village shall adopt a set of rules of procedure. And that is it for the rules.
So I have a question. Moving forward, so this says these should be adopted at our very first meeting. But, technically, how does that happen when we can't, should we be calling like a work session before our first meeting?
Yeah, that would be a first meeting.
Well,
So the first meeting would
be a work
be this.
session,
Not necessarily, no, it would be essentially this. If you had substantive changes to make. Otherwise, for the public's benefit, we shouldn't really be editing these every 5 minutes.
No,
So,
they should be edited once
Every
a
5
year if
minutes.
possible. I mean, it says we should review them every year. It says it right there. We should review them, and then by the first meeting, we're supposed to adopt new rules of council. It's in here. So, I guess that was my question, like, next year, we should probably have a rules of council meeting before the second week of the month, so we can have our council meeting and adopt them, because that's what it says we're supposed to do. We're supposed to adopt them at the first council meeting.
these rules shall continue in full force and effect until amended or replaced by the village council,
Finish. Keep
right?
going.
At the first regular meeting in January of each year, the village council shall adopt a set of rules of procedure.
Right. And, in a
It-
different place in here too, it also talks how we, says, organizational meeting. The newly elected and holdover members of the village council shall meet on the second Monday in January each year to organize the village council for ensuing the year under the recognized terms and conditions of the previous village council rules.
Correct.
Or they may amend as the provisions of Ohio Revised Code may provide. So, this isn't us having something,
You
Every
wouldn't
Friday.
have meetings before meetings because thereby your first meeting is that meeting.
So does that mean we can amend the rules on the first meeting before we adopt them?
Yes, always.
so we should do this at a council meeting?
Yes.
If I may,
Says- Also, in the council rules, it does say that we should never have long discussions about anything, that those should be done at the committee as a whole meetings. It does say that in there. Sorry.
no,
I
you're
guess I'm
fine.
still confused, like, for clerical,
Right.
I get what you're saying, is that, so, I guess, Stephen, so should they come, so say you got new election, like new elected people, come January 1,
Yes,
and our council meetings happen on the second, that would be our first meeting.
correct.
Should they have edits to make during the council meeting?
Theoretically, yes.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, your rules are your rules. You're not tied to them. Frankly, 4 of you can decide to ignore them or do whatever you want anytime your heart desires. I mean, theoretically, how these are written is at your organizational meeting every year, one of the things that should be on there is your council rules.
Right.
Now, do you have to do it? No, but should you look at them? Yes.
But you don't have to put an ordinance, I guess, for clerical. An
No,
ordinance
be-
doesn't need to be created.
No, because
Just
they
accept
stay
them.
in effect, they just need to be looked at and/or discussed, and y'all may say, come next January, y'all may say, nah, they look good, let's just, boom, they stay in effect.
So you don't have to vote on it.
You don't have to, because they stay in effect until it happens. Do I think it's a good practice at your first meeting to have this out there for people to look at and say, hey, does anyone have any suggestions, anyone have any changes? Absolutely. It's
Bring
one of
your
those, because if you don't do it, then you will never do it.
Right.
It's easier just to stay on top of it annually. There's not a lot of changes that are gonna occur from year to year. But yeah, this should be kind of a bullet point on your organizational meeting every year to say, hey, let's do rules, or look at the rules. And you all may look at them and say, nah, they look fine, let's just
But
move on.
like in this setting here, we've taken 2 days to look at them. So
Yeah.
at the council meeting, I guess what Becky's trying to say is that the conversation shouldn't be lengthy during a council meeting. So, I mean, it would have been, we wouldn't have had a council meeting.
If we decide we have edits, do we then say, let's take it to a work session?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you need to, yeah.
Or you can just discuss them right there and then.
Yeah, that's
There's
what you would
no-
do, yeah.
there isn't this doesn't require, I mean, you all, if you wanted to change your rules by motion, say, hey, 4 of us have decided we want to change this, you can do that anytime. It's your rules.
I just believe when there's a lot of new people, there's a lot of room for change.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to get people who frankly haven't seen them before, your eyes on them, to say, hey, what about this or this? Absolutely.
Right. And, Mr. Mayor, what I would like to add to that is, everything here is good discussion, and what I would like to add to that is bring your edits to the very first meeting, even as a new council person.
Yeah, in your,
Do your homework beforehand, get the rules of council from Courtney if you don't have them, and do those edits and bring them to the first council meeting.
yes, sir.
Are we allowed to go back on one other thing?
Sure.
On Rule 6,
Mhm.
I know we went to the vote, to add the water clerk and the supervisor to all the meetings.
Mhm.
Are we, my thought process is, do we absolutely need them at every meeting? I'm not saying that we, like, don't, how do I word this? I'd like to make a motion to change the wording, not back to how it was, but add it as needed. So give them a month or 2 weeks to a month advance. If we know that we were gonna need them, put the request in, have them. That way they're not required to be there. We're not required to pay them the overtime pay if it's after hours. If we need them there, great, let's call them, hey, we need you at this meeting, such and such date. I don't know how that would be worded, but
We can,
You know, Ms. Ashley,
it's just as, it would be just as needed, right? Yeah.
My only concern, like, as needed is okay, but usually when we have monthly meetings and we don't usually make the agenda until the day before, so it kind of depends what happens that month. We couldn't give them a month notice.
24-hour notice. I mean, give them a heads up. I mean, obviously, they know that they're gonna have to be at some meetings, but do they really need to be at all? Because, there's my work schedule Monday through Friday. I'm not off till 5:30.
Right.
That means if I'm on any of these committees, and any of them are after 5:30, they're gonna be paid overtime.
4 hours.
I believe,
And-
though, that sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead.
and,
No, you go ahead.
And it's not that I care about paying our workers overtime, it's the fact that if they're just gonna sit there and not have any questions at all to them, what's the point? Now, if we know that something's coming up, we give them, I understand that 24 hours would make more sense. Bring them in, let's have their questions, let them answer it, and if it is after hours, pay them their overtime, whatever.
I believe it was water and streets that we wanted to add those to. So maybe no, it was just water and streets. So if it was a situation where we couldn't schedule those meetings till outside of those hours because you couldn't attend, maybe we could consider not putting you on that specific committee so that we can hold it during a time that we wouldn't have to pay them overtime.
I also, I heard Courtney mention flexing hours, so they are capable of flexing hours. If they know, on this date, I have this, so on Monday,
We can't
I'm
make
gonna
them,
come
we can't
in.
make them do that. That's,
But it's, they
No.
can't flex hours?
uh-uh.
It would be their choice.
I have a question.
It would be, their normal hours as specified in our HR manual are 7:30 to 3. So,
But we could
Otherwise-
change that to say flex for committee meetings.
as your mayor, I'm not sure that I'm like solid on that when they should be filling potholes and instead of going to committee meetings.
Well, a
But
committee meeting's only an hour long, and a lot of the streets committees got canceled last year. So I love the thought of seeing Misty, seeing George, so that we can all work together.
Oh, wouldn't that be
So that
great?
we can, I don't really appreciate the sarcastic
No,
response
I
back.
apologize.
I
I-
think
certainly, I
that it
think
is
that
very important that we all are transparent and working together, and that there's not just middlemen telling people,
Oh, okay. Got it.
that's it.
Okay. Do we have a motion to bring these to council? go ahead.
As it was stated the other day, we used to have, Misty would come once a month to our council meetings. And that definitely was after her hours, but I believe she is allowed to flex time. So she used to come and report on, like how many meters still need installed, how delinquent, how many thousands of dollars were behind in collections and things like that. And it was good. And now we don't do that anymore, and that's fine. But I know, I've already spoke to Misty after we went through all this on Thursday, and I said, you're gonna be asked to come once a month for an hour to a committee meeting, and just so we can get firsthand, like, what you need, what certain questions are without getting it through someone else, because there's so often, like, I've heard our employees make the comments like, like they had good input, and sometimes, like, they wish they had a chance to say it. So again, it would just open the lines of communication more, but another thing that happens is, like, when Misty would come in before to our water meetings, because she used to be asked to come, if we didn't have anything for her, I mean, she's right there, we would just say, okay, thank you for that information, and she'd go back to work. She might be there 5 minutes, she might be there half an hour, and then she'd go back to work. I guess that we've never had, like, George do that before, but I've been on streets a lot, and, I know a lot of times it is good knowing, because they're down there at the garage, they know how many of this sign they have, they know which alley we're talking about when we're trying to talk to each other. I think they would appreciate being able to be there. I mentioned this once to George a while back, like, oh, I'd like to have you come to the streets meeting. He's like, oh, I don't want to get involved in politics.
That would be
Well,
silly
it's
to be
not, you don't have to get
ticked.
involved in
Ticked.
politics. It's just, that's what you do, and you are in charge of, the 3 guys, and the streets, and the water, and the this and the that. And it's just good getting that information. And again, if we don't need him that day, we just say, hey, George, we don't need you today.
Okay.
And he goes on about his work.
We have 5 minutes till the top of the hour, please.
motion is still.
The motion's still
Nathan's
pending.
Can I say one thing before we get started? I think we need to call them in situations at times we need to. Now, that's my opinion, because there is times you need to talk to them. So I'd be up to what you.
Mr. Mayor, I have one thing to say. You are the person they report to. Everyone knows what the needs are. It's as simple as picking up, I'm chair of whatever committee, streets or whatever. I'm gonna call the mayor and I'm gonna say, we're having a meeting at 5 o'clock today and we need answers to these questions. You call Misty or you call George and you get those answers and you bring that report. You're there anyway.
I believe we've done that, yeah. Okay, it's 5 minutes till the top of the hour. Do we have I'm sorry, we have a pending motion, do we
So
not?
Nathan has where,
Is-
it is,
To insert as needed.
yes.
Is there,
This
is there,
is a motion to,
So
Add.
how's it reading that they're to be there as needed?
as needed.
So we're talking about, I'm trying to find the spot on here.
Well, last time I believe it was on water, wastewater, and streets.
Okay,
So we're doing these individually or as one?
so where is water and wastewater? Oh,
Because I think it's the same title.
Okay, so
I
we
would be
added-
okay with it.
we added D water clerk and E street supervisor, right?
Okay.
And then you guys are wanting to say as needed.
Instead of required.
Well, it doesn't say required, right.
that,
It just doesn't say
Well,
anything.
the motion.
The
from
motion previous last
said
time was.
It was required.
What number is
Right,
that?
they were
Heather?
listed as, okay.
Rule 6.
So as needed is what you guys are wanting to change that.
Okay, so Nathan placed that motion.
is there a second?
We can always be going back and re-voting on things.
Is
I'll
there-
second it.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, David,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Becky,
No.
Melanie,
No.
Heather,
No.
Joyce,
Yes.
is tied.
Yes.
My only comment, if I may, is, I'm not a fan of paying them 4 hours. And once we check into it, we might have to pay Misty 4 hours as well. We're not real sure.
I would encourage the chair
I-
to schedule those meetings during normal business hours then.
And maybe even work with George and Misty to see if they'd be willing to flex their hours.
Okay, is there a motion from the floor to send these rules now as edited?
Wait,
Hold on, I'm
I
speaking.
wasn't done, but it's okay.
I'm not done editing.
Okay, well, we've made it through all 39 rules, so,
Right, but we went back
okay,
A
twice.
few times.
all right.
Do you want
Is,
to make it to extend?
uh,
Or do
n-
you only have 3 minutes? Is that, my phone's on record. What's the time?
it is 5:57,
I'll make a motion to extend for 5 minutes.
okay?
And
Is
this
there-
would be at 5, this would be at 6:05.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Well, we can just do all
Oh,
in favor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objected?
Opposed.
Okay.
Those opposed? Okay.
You have the floor.
Oh, sorry, I got myself confused there. Can you, Courtney, read back to me on rule, I'm a little confused, I got a lot of scratches. On Rule 6 on committees, where we ended with record and retention. I know we did 1 village council, fiscal officer, clerk of council,
On records of retention?
yes.
Yes, so the motion that was passed at the last Wednesday's meeting was, it was only 1 village council member, clerk of council, fiscal officer, mayor, and then 2 citizens.
So citizens, yes? Yes?
First of all, and I'm gonna talk about committees when I do my presentation, I can't stand them. But, when it comes to records commission, I will tell you, the record stuff is all set by state statute. So, under records commission, it's the chief executive, the law director, the finance director, and 1 citizen representative. There is no council members. And that's set under Ohio law. So, I don't know what this committee is, if it's something different than records.
So they review
Yeah.
village documents to shred or
It's
send to the Ohio
old
Historical
documents.
Society.
Yeah, that's what records commission, and that's set forth by Ohio
Oh,
law.
okay. Well,
So,
So this has been in the,
Been
For
doing
years.
this
rules of
forever.
council for years.
This is
and
why
years
we
and
edit
years.
rules
I
of
mean, I'm not
council.
saying you can't, if you wanna add people to it, I'm just telling you, the state law requires that
Who should it be? Say it.
it's law director, and I only know that because I have to sit through them every year. Chief executive, finance,
Who's chief
Chief-
executive?
Mayor?
mayor.
Okay.
I know long as I run it, sir, I've done it the last 2 years. Andy's always been there and
Who's
Courtney
finance
has.
Director.
Me?
She, her,
And then 1 citizen representative.
Is that a citizen of the village?
Do
or
they
just
have to be a resident?
general citizen?
It is a resident of the
Okay.
village.
But they cannot be serving on council. Could that village resident be a council member?
That is really a good question.
That, I think that's muddy in the water maybe a little bit, I'm not sure.
I just,
Could.
David's been doing it so long, I mean, he'd be a great citizen for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there'd be a prohibition, 'cause it's not like you're holding any other office, which is a prohibition. I'm gonna look real quick. But yeah, I mean, the Records Commission one, like I said, that's all set by state law, so I don't know that I would.
Okay, so
I have a question. Well, I mean, they had 3 council members doing it last year. That's why we changed it back to 1. But I guess so what our records and retention does is, so are you saying the same thing? That, like, they have rooms full and totes full of old council meetings and such, and they just look through them and decide what goes in the shredder and what gets kept? So is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Okay,
That's
so
what-
you should be doing that once a year? Because-
No, it's every 6 months you
Every
have to
6
do
I
it.
was gonna say, I thought it was,
Every 6
okay,
months.
so it's every.
And the
isn't
reason
even
why I
gonna be a
think they
committee
changed that
anymore.
is when Lowell was
No.
here, there was such an excessive amount that they never, they
It had-
never really
it had been
practiced
years.
that.
He never got nothing done, the truth was.
Okay, so it is,
So-
okay, so it is 6.
All right,
Every
I
6
got the
months?
statute here, just to make sure, I wanna make sure I was right. There's hereby created in each municipal corporation, that's us, a records commission composed of the chief executive, which is the mayor, or the mayor's appointee as chair, the chief fiscal officer, the chief legal officer, and a citizen appointed by the chief executive.
Appointed by the mayor.
Yes. So that's state law, so,
Okay, so that probably needs to be changed.
I know, sir, we
Yes.
look for a lot of the historical documents too, we like and all
yeah,
that,
so
yes.
that-
yeah.
what happens, Records Commission is usually the best meeting to go to, because it lasts like 5 minutes, but You know, you have destruction orders, you have to look at the RC2s, the RC3s, the one-time destruction, the annual destruction, that kind of stuff, approve it. And frankly, as long as it meets our retention schedule, we're going to approve it. The only other thing the retention, or the Records Commission does is they alter the records retention periods. We, as a village, can set our periods for whatever our heart desires, other than there's some things under state law you have to keep for a certain amount of time. But for the most part, we can decide what our number is.
And we have that already
We have that
passed,
defined,
a
yeah.
records
Yeah, and
retention.
occasionally we'll have to update it, because as new things come online, you know, if something isn't on a retention schedule, by law, we have to keep it forever. We don't wanna keep anything forever. So, you know, Records Commission, when I look at these committees, that's the one I look at and like, you know, it's already kind of provided for under state law, but
So does it matter that a council member serves on it?
no, it doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't, but once again, that's,
So does he get paid for
So,
that?
I have
Because
one more
technically it is
question.
a,
Is a meeting.
well, he's shaking his
Say
head
no.
no.
it's not a council meeting.
Well, our committees get $25 per meeting. That's why I asked, I mean, I didn't know.
No,
if
because
he-
he's not
it's
serving in the
not.
capacity as a council
Right,
member.
that's
Yeah,
what
He's
I
serving
was
as a
saying.
citizen,
As a
so he would
resident.
not get
So
paid for
you would
that.
not get paid, okay.
So
The
I have
years-
one more question.
Excuse me, the years I've run that though, it's always went well, and we've went through a lot of historical duplications, and Courtney and the mayor's always been with us through every one of them, and we get a lot done, so.
Training short.
Well, this is a good to find this out, but I do have one question. I just heard you say that usually this is a meeting of about 5 minutes and it's done. But I've also know, last year they went from 1 council member to 3, and they have 2 village residents helping shred and go through all these papers. So how does the same meeting take you 5 minutes and it takes them an
Because
hour
we have to
with 5
prepare it.
people?
We have to prepare it in
Me and
advance.
the
All-
mayor
All
would
the
have-
stuff has to
Okay.
get ready.
Yeah.
So you two
Yeah. We
and
would have to bring it
a
forward.
We would have to
resident
bring it, yeah, to the
would
commission
bring
then.
it, and then you would just sign off on it?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so that probably needs to be changed.
That definitely, I would say just remove it.
I would just say per state law.
Yeah.
Per Ohio Revised
Record
Code.
Commission person.
Remove
Code.
per
Yep.
state.
So there's a motion to remove, this would be 10 under Rule 6.
I'll give you the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second it?
So Melanie.
Melanie, yeah.
Okay, and then Becky. Okay. Roll call, David?
Yes,
Nathan?
Yes.
Becky?
This is hard.
Yes. Melanie?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
Okay, we're at 6:04.
Yep.
Is there a motion to place these rules of council before council?
Do you have that motion?
Thank you.
May I stop?
Sure.
Is this gonna be as an emergency, or is these gonna be on 3 readings? That needs to be included in your motion.
I say 3 readings, but it's up for discussion.
I have a thought about that. So I think we're a little bit in a bad situation no matter which way we go. If we go 3 readings, that's 6 weeks unless we have special meetings. And then according to
Which we can do.
our ordinance rules, that they don't have to take effect for 30 days. So now you're talking,
But the old ones do remain in effect
But in
until the
effect.
new ones replace them.
oh, okay, so
So-
we could start having committee meetings until these get replaced?
The rules, right now, the rules don't ever stop. They just can be amended. You
that's
can
good.
change them in the future.
Okay, okay,
So
that's
because
good
they
to know.
haven't approved, and I'm sorry, because they haven't approved their committee that have been assigned by the President Pro Tem,
Well, you still need
Oh.
to approve the committees that are
Okay.
assigned by the
We're
president.
approving the rules, not the committee.
So we have to get the, if I may, we have to get the rules of council approved so we can get the committees approved before, is that not right?
You could approve the committees.
You could approve the
Council could
committees
approve the
first.
committees at any time, because the rules right now will just roll over from last year.
We don't have to have 3 readings on committee assignments. We
But,
can
but
just-
we can take the time to readjust committee assignments and have another special meeting later this
why would
week.
you have a special meeting?
I'm gonna talk about.
We have an
Council has to
extension,
vote on it.
so we have at 6:05. Is
Yeah,
there to
we're at
extend
6:05.
meeting, to be 6:10?
I'm only suggesting another special meeting because we have council members that are
We
not
need to
the-
have a
happy.
motion
To extend the
Pass
meeting.
vote.
I'll make a
Thank you, Nathan.
second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Time's getting
Aye.
shorter.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, 6:10.
So I think, Joyce, you're misunderstanding what Stephen's saying.
Probably.
The rules do not ever just end, so what is in effect from last time they're approved, I only know when the last time we did this was, those will remain in effect until they are superseded and or replaced by whatever you do here. But, as you said, you are correct in that the committee assignments will be approved by council, but council could do that at any time. It doesn't have to wait until the rules are done, because you have the power under the old rules and the new rules to do that.
Okay.
So, sorry if that was
So the
confusing.
new
So I have a
committees that
question.
you've already sent out just needs to be approved unless you're making.
But we
changes.
can change them.
So, okay, so like,
Okay with that?
if Joyce decided right now
Have a separate conversation, guys.
to go on that little chart and let us all, I know we cannot, per sunshine laws, like, we can't get together at Ben and Joy's and sign up for committees, okay? So we would have to do it in an open forum like this if she were to allow us to, sign up for committees, correct? If we were all together.
If you're all together, yes. So first of all, in all of my communities, and not just here, but we always have a president pro tem, and usually they frankly are the ones who make all the decisions. If she wants to allow you to have a sign-up sheet, we could post a sign-up sheet on Courtney's desk, and you could walk in one at a time and sign it. That doesn't violate the Opens Meetings Law. However, if I get 4 of you together talking about where you want to be, then we have a problem, and it has to be done.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, theoretically, you could post a sign-up sheet somewhere where each one of you went in and signed up for things. But that's,
And also theoretically, we could extend this meeting 5 minutes and go over there and fill in the sheet, and if she liked it, we could adopt it. If
That's-
it's an open meeting.
that is up to the president to decide, because right
Is
now, how the rules are.
Is there any reason why we can't pass these tonight and then I can't, is there anything saying I can't have a one-on-one with everyone?
You can have a one-on-one
Okay.
meeting, that's not a violation.
That's
of
my
the law.
preference.
But the only problem with, again, I guess it doesn't matter if it takes 6 weeks to pass, because we still have rules of council in effect. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
So I
It
would
won't
say
take
no
6 weeks.
emergency either.
Take
I mean,
Well,
it
she
will if
just
we
said
go
3 readings.
three readings.
Oh,
for
okay,
those.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, now that I know that, as long as, yeah, that's
But again,
fine.
council has to approve them, and I think we're missing that point, is
At
that,
some point, yeah.
yeah.
That's
In
important.
order for the committees
Council has
to meet, the council has to approve those committees.
I'm good with 3 readings myself, if that's what we gotta do, so.
Okay, so the motion I think Joyce had originally,
Let's go back, yep.
okay, was to take these rules to council for 3 readings.
I will withdraw my motion.
Okay, so noted.
I will make that motion to take these rules of council to meeting.
And I will second that.
Okay,
As 3 readings?
3 readings.
3 readings.
Yeah, I'm good with
That
that.
was her original.
yeah.
No, that's
what we
why I
just-
didn't understand that.
I'm
I'm
going- I'm
trying
a
to get
bit-
this done
I'm a
with.
bit perplexed because that's what we just did, but all right.
Yeah, that's what I was like, wait, that's the same one.
All right, so is
we
there,
need to take,
Just want to get it over with.
rules of
That's what
council.
we have to do.
I thought we would change it to emergency.
yeah,
Okay, and that was motion by Melanie, seconded by Joyce.
Well-
Yep, we're good.
okay, you're good.
Yes?
Okay, and roll call, David?
Yes,
Nathan?
Yes.
This is 3 readings, correct?
Becky? Yes.
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes,
Heather?
Yes.
And Joyce?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
All right,
that was hard.
very good. And on that note, we are over time and we do need to close this meeting and move on to our next regularly scheduled meeting. So on that note, unless there's anything else, we are closing out and adjourning this meeting.
Mayor,
Yeah.
if I go down there just so I can
Please,
see all
please,
of
please, please,
council.
please.
I feel weird because I can't really see you guys.
To assign committees, because this wouldn't take effect until.
Did you record this meeting? Do you need to stop recording, sir?
But we can still,
It confuses me.
and you're,
We can accept that anytime.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, can I need to restart the one, because this is gonna be a different meeting. Unless y'all want it recorded for a work session.
No,
Just-
just start a second meeting. This is a second meeting, right?
yeah, this,
Right, okay.
part 2.